Let's say you want to repeat a command, but you don't really know how often. Usually you would use the for widget for this. But now the condition for the loop, so when it should stop, is just set while your data pack executes. So we need a kind of loop that runs in Minecraft itself. To see how this works, let's illustrate it quickly. So in classical execution, you have these instructions here, and at the end there is an instruction to loop if the condition is true. The computer has a pointer that goes through the instructions and at the end jumps back to the beginning and starts again. In Minecraft this is a bit different. The do loop calls an extra generated function here. This function holds all your instructions, and at the end we call our function itself again if the condition is true. That means we execute these instructions recursively and repeat the instructions in this way. Here in our project I included a new file called loop, and here we use the do while loop now. This requires a condition that must be true to loop all the instructions in the loop. So let's use score from selected, and let's call it loop, and the score should be greater as 0. And then we can give it a then property that accepts a list of widgets that are executed as the instructions of this loop. So let's copy the score right here and we remove 1 here. And then we also have a property called test before that tests if this condition up here is true before it even enters the loop once. That means if we set this to true and our scoreboard is, for example, -1, it won't even start the loop. And if we set it to false here, this would go one time in the loop and execute all our instructions here once. So let's see what we get from this. Now that we generated this project, our scoreboard is added in the load function. We do have our loop.mc function here, and here it checks if our scoreboard is greater than 0, and then executes this extra function that I mentioned earlier. This is in the objD folder right here, and here we have the decrease of this value and as well the condition with the recursive part. Oh, and maybe we should also log this scoreboard here. So let's include the score in the log widget right here to see the values in the chat. So let's reload it again here. Scoreboard players set as loop to, let's say, 10. And now if we call the function, we can see instantly it logs all of our numbers here and it decreased the scoreboard. You also have the option to turn this do widget into an until loop by just using the until constructor here. And this will run the loop until this condition here becomes true. So in our case, this would be below or equal to 0. So in the generated code, this would just negate the condition right here. So unless it is below or equal to 0, it does the loop again. To get more information on widgets, visit objD.stevatus.com or take a look at the objD playlist here.